Hello everyone, welcome to Nurse Pastry Explains. Today we will see the other topic in research, nursing research, that is research problem statement, objectives and hypothesis. Formulation of research problem. Okay. After identifying the research problem which you want to do the research, formulating of that research problem statement is very important step in nursing research. So selection of the research areas. In which area or the problem you want to select the research problem. So selection of that research area. Next step, reviewing the literature and theories. As you know, the steps of research process, reviewing the literature and theories is very important step to gain knowledge or collect the proofs or some material. Next step is delimiting the research topic. Which topic you want to study, delimiting it is very important. Then next one is evaluating the research problem. Evaluate the research problem which you have selected. Then last one, formulating final statement of the research. And finally you have to fix to the one research problem statement. Okay, these are the steps of research problem statement preparation. According to Curlinger, a problem is an interrogative sentence. What is problem? Okay, it is an interrogative sentence. That sentence in which you want to do some research, search for the facts, search for truths, or search for the causes of it, effect, or to conduct interrogation about that particular topic or the problem. Or statement. It is a statement that asks what relation exists between two or more variables. In that problem statement, you can check for two or more variables. What is the connection or association exists between those two variables? Okay, for that also you can prepare a statement that is called as problem statement. The answer to questions which provide what is having sought in the research. You are taking a question for which you are going to identify the answer or find out the answer. A research problem is an enigmatic, perplexing, or troubling condition. Okay, so enigmatic means something mysterious, anything mysterious or impossible to understand. So taking that type of mysterious topic or a problem and doing research, finding the results for it, finding some solution to the problem. Or perplexing, that is something very confusing or very hard to understand. That type of confusing topic or difficult to understand topic you can take and simplify it. Or any troubling condition which is troubling the researcher, you are unable to find answer for it, that type of problem can be selected for research. A problem statement articulates the problem to be addressed and indicates the need for study. So what the problem statement, problems, whatever problem you state like a problem statement, it should tell the problem to be what problem you are selecting and what is the need for it, why you are doing research in that. That has to be told. Research questions are specific queries. Research questions are specific queries, specific questions. Researchers want answers for that in addressing the research problem. That's why they are doing research to identify the answer for the problem. They guide the type of data to be collected in a study. Statement of purpose is the researcher's summary of the overall goal of a study. Then hypothesis. Specific predictions. What is hypothesis? Specific predictions. Prediction, what you are predict. Prediction means guessing about a future event. What will happen at the end of the research, guessing it before itself, that is called as prediction. So hypothesis is specific predictions regarding the answers. So you selected a problem that and expecting an answer at the end of the research. What answer you are expecting, predicting it, guessing it before doing the research itself is called as hypothesis. Research aims or objectives. The specific accomplishments the researcher hopes to achieve by conducting the study. What are research aims and objectives? which include the specific accomplishment by the end of the research study, what you are expecting to reach or achieve, those you will list out in the form of aims or objectives. The selection of a research area. First, you have to start with the selection of a research area. Formulation of research problem begins with the selection of broad research topic. In which topic you are interested in or having more doubts, or you want to find solution. That research topic from personal experience with your previous work experience or with the literature. When you read books from the library, you got any questions, queries which there are no answers, you can select from literature, previous research and theories in which researcher is inserted. The person who is doing research, if you are interested in any theories, you can take that and test the effect and has significance for library profession. Next, reviewing literature and theories. After getting a broad idea for research, he or she needs to review the literature. Okay, literature and theories. Literature is reviewed to know what has already been done in the selected area of research. After you select a topic, okay, for example, library information and sciences related topic you have selected. According to that, literature review to know what already research is done, first identify that. Then review of library theories, what are theories present in that related to that library information sciences topic. That research to plan a research problem to contribute towards either testing or development of a new theory or conceptual model. Next step is delimiting the research topic. In this step, researcher proceeds from a general area to the interest area. You select a topic, but specifically in that topic, what exactly you want to find out. From general to specific topic of research to conduct a study. For example, initially researcher decides to conduct a study on impact of a library internship. Okay, impact how the library internship course is impacting on masters of library and information sciences student, the person who is doing masters in library studies. Okay, for them, how the library internship working in any library for 6 months or 1 year, how it is going to impact on that student. So that is the research topic here. Later in this stage, researcher limits to specific research topic. That means from general to specific, the researcher will go like study on perception of MLIS students about impact of how the masters of library sciences students considering the internship, how they are perceiving, how they are understanding the impact on internship in Pondicherry University. Like that, from general to specific, you have to select the topic. In this stage, a researcher clearly identify the variables. What are the variables? They will clearly identify in this step. Then evaluating the research problem. Once the researcher is clear about the specific research problem, next the researcher problem must be carefully evaluate for its significance. The topic which they have selected, whether it is important or not, whether you are able to do research or not, and feasibility, how far it is feasible. That means practically how far it is able to do. You are able to do it, whether it is feasible or not. That also you have to check. Feasibility of research problem should be evaluated for time. Within the given time you can complete or not. How much cost you have to afford to complete the research. Availability, whether resources are available or not. Availability of subjects, especially people on whom you want to conduct the research. Those people, subjects are available or not, and resources. Okay, administrative and peer support. Your administration has to give you permission to conduct that research. Friends support. Ethical considerations, whether you are harming any animal or people in your research study. So that kind of ethical consideration and researcher competence and interest. If the researcher has no interest in that topic and the teacher is keep on pushing, that is of no use. So researcher has an interest or not, that also you have to keep in mind. Next one is formulating final statement of research problem. So by keeping all the other steps, finally you have to formulate the research problem statement. After establishing the significance, researchability and feasibility, then researcher finally formulates the final statement of a research problem. A statement of research problem could be in declarative or interrogative format. Two types of format are there for research problem statement, declarative or interrogative. Okay, so declarative format is, in this format a research problem is stated in declarative statement, like you are declaring it. Example, impact of library internship on a Masters of Library Information Sciences student of Pondicherry University. You are declaring it directly, impact of library internship on the students. Interrogative format is like you have to interrogate, take it as a question, then identify the result, interrogate into it. So in interrogative format, research problem is stated in question form, like this. Example, what is the impact of library internship on MLIS student of Pondicherry University? These are the two types of formats of problem statement. Then the choice of either of these two types of format formulation of a research problem depends upon the research preference. The researcher who is conducting the researcher, according to their preference, they can choose declarative format or interrogative. Declarative format much popular among the researchers. Usually declarative is the popular. Next, example of a good formatted research problem. Okay, the best example of a good research problem statement is a descriptive study on prevalence of pin site infection. Okay, the problem statement looks like this. Okay, a descriptive study on prevalence of pin site infection among patients with external skeletal fixation admitted in orthopedic wards of King's Hospital, Hyderabad. Okay, so you are going to study what type of research study you have selected, descriptive design. Okay, descriptive study on the prevalence of pin site infection. Usually in any fracture cases, for fixation of those pieces of the bones, external skeletal fixation will be done after the surgery. So you can see all the pins, round circle like pins are fixed to the fractured leg or hand. Those pins, pin site from where the pins are coming, so that infection. So prevalence of patient for pin site infection among patients with external skeletal fixation admitted in the orthopedic wards. So you are selecting the patients with external skeletal fixation who are admitted in orthopedic wards of King's Hospital, Hyderabad. Population are these patients admitted in orthopedic wards. They are your population. And place where the setting where you are conducting King's Hospital, Hyderabad. Okay. What type of study you are conducting? Descriptive type of study. Like this, the problem statement looks like. This is the example of declarative form of statement problem. So research study type is descriptive. Variables. What are the variables in this problem statement? It has only research variables as prevalence. Okay, prevalence of pin site infection. This is the variable. It may change from one patient to other patient. This prevalence may change. So something which varies is variable. Population. Who is the population here? Patients with external skeletal fixation. Research setting, orthopedic ward of King's Hospital, Hyderabad. So statement of research problem. Problem can be stated in two ways, declarative, interrogative form. Okay, example you can see here, our nursing related studies looks like this. Example of declarative form is an evaluatory study to assess the effect of self-structured teaching program. Okay, you take a topic and you prepare like a lesson plans, that is called as a structured teaching program prepared by yourself. That is self-structured teaching program about any topic on the knowledge of catheter care among staff nurses. So in this problem here, you are checking the knowledge of or to affect after taking a class on catheter care, the knowledge of nurses improves or not. That you are checking in GGH Guntur. In the interrogative form, the example is what will be the effect of self-structured teaching program on the knowledge of catheter care among staff nurses of GGH Guntur. Like that, declarative and interrogative problem statement you can prepare. Next, variables. What are variables? Something that varies, something that changes in the study from one patient to other patient, that is called as variable. Variables are characteristics, qualities, quantities or properties that can vary and which can be studied. the characteristic. In last problem statement, you have seen knowledge of the nurses about catheter care. Before the taking class STP, they will have some knowledge. After taking the class, the knowledge may be improved. So that improvement, the change in the knowledge is one quality or characteristic. Like those things which change, they are called variables. These are the factors or elements that researcher aims to investigate, understand, and analyze in order to draw a meaningful conclusion. So, variables are the factors which researcher wants to study, investigate, he wants to understand and analyze. Types of variables, very important. Okay, you may get a small question as a variables. Write about the variables 5 marks. What you will write? What is variable? Meaning of it. Types of variables you can write. Research variable, dependent and independent variable, demographic variable, extraneous and confounding variables, univariate versus bivariate versus multivariate, quantitative versus qualitative variables. In this types, continuous and discrete, nominal and ordinal. Examples of these variables are age, gender, blood pressure, anxiety score, treatment type. Type of treatment, depending upon the treatment type, the patient's pain may change. So that is one variable. Okay, anxiety score, anxiety of the patient before going to surgery. Different patients' anxiety levels, if you check, one patient will have less anxiety, other patient more anxiety, okay, or some people no anxiety. Like that, it changes. Which changes? Those are called as variables. Study on effect of music therapy on anxiety. How the music therapy affects the anxiety level of the patient. How it affects. Okay. Age, gender, education, marital status, occupation, religion. Effect of exercise on weight loss. Okay. In this, extraneous variables are diet. What variables will affect of exercise on weight loss? Not only exercise, the diet which they take also will have effect on their weight loss. So diet, genetics, sleep habits, these are the extraneous variables which you don't mention in the problem statement, but which will change by the end of the study. These all have influence on your result. So they are what diet the patient is taking, their genetics, their body type, sleep habits. Confounding variables are calorie intake, if not controlled. What type of diet they are taking, calorie intake, if not controlled, it may falsely appear as a exercise does not work. So diet also will have indirectly control over the weight loss. So those type of variables are called as confounding variables. So there are some examples of a type of study, problem statement and variables in that statement. So you can clearly understand. If it is a descriptive study, the statement looks like this. A descriptive study on prevalence of anemia among adolescent girls in selected villages of district Karnataka. Okay, here you are conducting a descriptive study on just you are identifying, taking some, gathering some data of how the disease of anemia prevalent among adolescent girls and in selected villages. You are selecting only some villages in the districts of Karnataka. What are the variables here? Prevalence of anemia changes from one village to the other village. This is going to change, varies. That is called as variable. Next one is another type of study is exploratory study. An exploratory study on contributing factors of anemia. Here, prevalence of anemia. Here, factors which are leading to anemia among adolescent girls in selected villages of district Karnataka. Like this, explorative study statement looks like. Here, what are the variables? Contributing factors which are going to change from one girl to another girl, one village to other village. So, this is the variable. Third type of study is comparative study. A comparative study on health problems among rural, urban, older people of district. Comparative, you are comparing here two groups, you are taking rural people, urban people, and you are conducting a comparative study on health problems with what they are suffering, older people. Okay, so health problems which are going to change from rural to urban. So health problems is the variable which varies. Next one is experimental study. An experimental study on efficacy of oral morphine, giving oral morphine in management of chronic cancer pain among advanced stage cancer patients admitted in hospice at Visakhapatnam. Like this, experimental study problem statement looks like. So what you are checking here? how efficiently the oral morphine is working for the management of chronic cancer patients' pain. So what will be the variable here? Independent variable, dependent variable. Independent, you can see oral morphine is the independent variable which is not changing. Okay, it is independent because for every patient you will give oral morphine drug, patient with chronic cancer patients to relieve pain. Dependent variable which changes. Okay, chronic cancer pain. Okay, so that is dependent and independent variable. Like this, in each problem statement, different type of studies, different type of statements and variables. Okay, like this, the variables you can identify, and all this you have to formulate when you formulate the problem statement. Next one is hypothesis and assumptions. What is hypothesis? A hypothesis is a prediction. Okay, you are predicting the future, guessing about the future event. Yes, almost always involving a predicted relationship between two or more, predicting between relationship between two or more variables. Okay, according to Pollitt and Beck. A hypothesis is a specific testable prediction which is very specific. You can test it. That kind of guess about the future, prediction about what you expect to happen in your study, what you are expecting in your study to happen, guessing it before starting the research itself is called as hypothesis. A hypothesis is a tentative statement about relationship between two or more variables. In the hypothesis, you are clearly stating the relationship between, tentative relationship between two or more variables, because that is what you are going to get as a result at the end of the study. Coming to the importance of a hypothesis. What is important? Theory and development. There will be development in the theory, and you are gaining knowledge by conducting research. You are gaining knowledge about that particular topic in specific. Then advancing knowledge. Knowledge also going to improve. You are doing advancement of knowledge. Problem solving. You have selected a problem, conducting research, and trying to find solution. Communication. Whatever results you get, you are going to communicate it different medias by publishing in journals to large group of people. Then focused research. Throughout the research process, you are going to focus on that particular topic. So in detail knowledge which you gain on that topic. So focused approach. Empirical testing. After you collect the data, you are going to analyze the data in empirical forms. Okay, by using the statistics. Next, last one is rigor and reliability. That is ensuring findings are accurate. You have to make sure at the end of the research study whether findings are accurate or not. You have to make sure. This is the importance of hypothesis. Types of hypothesis: simple versus complex hypothesis, associative versus causal, null versus alternative research, directional versus non-directional hypothesis. Before starting your study itself, you have to select the type of hypothesis which you are going to select for the problem which you are going to study. Usually null versus alternative research type of hypothesis is commonly used for most of the studies in nursing. Coming to the types of hypothesis: simple versus complex. Hypothesis state one-to-one relationship only. There is significant association between the pregnancy complications and hypertensive status of patient during pregnancy. What complications a mother will develop due to the hypertensive condition of her during the pregnancy. So this is association between these two variables, okay, that they are going to study. Simple versus complex. What is complex in this? State one to many relationship. Birth weight of babies is associated with age, education, GA parity, and maternal height or weight, ANC visits, antenatal visits, exposure to smoking, and hemoglobin value. All these factors which are going to associated with the birth weight of the baby. So it is complex, not only one. Many factors are related here. Okay, so that is simple versus complex. Another type is associative versus causal. Predicts that two variables are related but does not claim cause and effect. So you guess that two variables are related, but there is no cause and effect. You cannot claim relationship or correlation between the variables. You can see here there is an association between hours of sleep and academic performance among nursing students. Nursing students before the exams, how many hours they are sleeping and their academic performance. That association you can check. Okay, that type of studies come under associative hypothesis. Casual predicts that one variable directly affects or causes a change in another. Increased hours of sleep improve academic performance among nursing students. Okay, so that you are guessing increased hours of sleep. So if sleep is sufficient, your focus and concentration will be good, so that your academic performance will be good. So like that, this is the causal hypothesis. Another type is directional versus non-directional. The hypothesis stating preference on one group than other group with the direction of relationship is known as directional. The absentees will be more among PG students than UG students. So like that, okay. Preference on one group than another group. You are in your statement itself, you are expecting that UG students absentees will be less than PG students. The risk of fall will be more among elderly patients than younger patients. Okay, like this. Then hypothesis stating blind relationship between one to more groups, that is called as non-directional hypothesis. Without any preference of any section is known as non-directional. Example: risk of fall is associated with age of the patient. Okay, like this. Next, null versus alternative hypothesis. Hypothesis stating absence of relationship. Null means absence, no relationship. There is no significant difference between the pre-test and post-test knowledge. Okay, so you conduct a structured teaching program. That is, you take a class on any topic, CPR or anything. Before taking class, you conduct pre-test. After class, you conduct post-test. Whatever the result, you are expecting that no difference will be there on pre-test and post-test knowledge of the subjects. Then alternative hypothesis, for this what is alternative? There is a significant difference. So there will be, you are here, you are telling there won't be any significant difference, but here there is a significant difference between the pre-test and post-test knowledge. Those are the four types of hypothesis. Advantages of hypothesis: it gives direction to the study. Hypothesis builds researcher's confidence in his results. A good hypothesis enriches the theory. Okay, these are the hypothesis. A good hypothesis will enrich the theory. Okay, it will build confidence among the researchers. Disadvantages are it may bias the investigator towards a particular position and cause him lose objectivity. Sometimes it may lead to bias of the researcher and lose his objectivity. Focus can be lost. Next, what are assumptions? Okay, assumptions are the basic conditions, beliefs, or premises that researcher accept as true without proof at the start of the study. At the start of the research study, as a researcher, what conditions or beliefs or your beliefs about that particular topic that you are expecting at the end of the research study, those are assumptions. So before starting the research, I am assuming that there won't be any change in the knowledge due to STP pre-test and post-test. Like that you can assume. But it may come true or it may become false by the completion of the study. Assumptions are statements that are considered to be true or taken for granted even though they have been proved scientifically. Assumptions are principles that are accepted or as true based on the logic. What is the difference between assumptions and hypothesis? Hypothesis, we have said, it is guess, prediction, guess about the future. Assumptions are the statements, a statement that is taken for granted or considered true. You are taking that statement as for granted and you are considering it as true even though it has no scientific basis. Still you think, you believe that it is true. Whereas hypothesis, prediction about the relationship between two or more variables. Basis, often implicit and not always stated. Okay, often we assume but we don't actually state it. Explicitly formulated and stated. Hypothesis you have to formulate and state in the research study. Purpose, provide foundational starting point in the research. It works as a foundation at the starting point. Here hypothesis guide empirical testing. It will guide the empirical while calculating the research results. It gives a empirical testing results it will provide. Testing, not scientifically tested within the scope of study, but here hypothesis directly tested through research study. After completing the study, you have to tell whether your hypothesis is achieved or not. Formation time made before research begins. Here, this is developed after the literature review. Examples, the sample is the true representation of population under study. Here, group A will perform better than group B. Like this, you have to formulate the hypothesis. Those are the differences between assumptions and hypothesis. So, this is about a topic of research problem statement. What are the types of problem statement? How you have to formulate a problem statement, and hypothesis. What are the different types of hypothesis? Definition, advantages, disadvantages, and assumptions. What are assumptions? With examples you have seen. Variables also you have studied. What type of different variables? Dependent variable, independent variable, and with some examples you have seen clearly what are the different types of variables. So this is about this topic in research. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe the channel.